Right, so we move now into our afternoon panel, which is going to be presented by Microsoft. And the topic we're dealing with this panel is operationalizing AI for developmental mission impact. Helping us as the anchor or the moderator for this discussion is Wanjiku Munyanka, who is the Partner Development Manager at Microsoft Elevate. Let's give her a round of applause as... Oh, show her some love, show her some love. Joining her on stage is Samuel Wiru, who is the Group ICT Director at Amref Health Africa. Joining us is Kelvin Njanga, who is a digital transformation lead at Kenya Red Cross Society. So now we finished clapping, but he's not here. So keep clapping. You see? And then we have Rahab Wangari, who is the IT manager at FSD Africa. Manchiko, over to you now.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow, the room is full. When I looked back from lunch, I thought it would be not this full, but I'm grateful that you guys are all back. As mentioned, I'm Wanjiko Munyaka from the Microsoft Elevate team. And basically, maybe to just describe what we do is that we support non-profits and educational organizations adopt technology. We know there's, of course, a big adoption of open source technology within the nonprofit and developmental sector. But we do believe that we can collaborate and work together with even proprietary software to be able to fill in the gaps where they are there and support you as nonprofit organizations. So when you are trying to think up this panel around that word is a big word, eh? I don't know why I put it in the title, but I'll have to deal with it now. When you are thinking about how this panel will be constituted, the developmental sector within Africa has grown leaps and bounds. When majorly the focus had been in the humanitarian aid space, the healthcare space, but we have seen that grow to interesting areas like the financial inclusion space and development space, interesting spaces such as research and information usage. So we tried to balance that out with the panelists that are on stage right now. So and we have worked with each of these organizations as Microsoft Elevate, and they have used some of our AI solutions. They have moved from thinking through how to integrate AI in their environments and using it in a way that actually contributes to their missions. Not just, it's no longer just an IT discussion, an internal AI discussion within the IT environments. But the AI speaks into their mission work, their actual mission and vision as a nonprofit organization. So I'll just begin with an introduction of Mr. Samuel Weru. So Mr. Weru is a seasoned ICT leader with over 20 years experience. Sorry for aging you. It's not 40, it's 20. Experience in senior management, overseeing regional and global operations across Africa, Europe, and North America. His expertise spans strategic ICT operations, organizational change management, and mobilization of resources for both operation and technology investments. Currently, he serves as a group ICT director at Amref Health Africa, where he leads global ICT operations and manages an annual core ICT budget exceeding $2 million. Wow, how many of us have that kind of budget? But he does that and is instrumental in transforming Amref from a country-centered model into a fully integrated global organization through enterprise-wide systems, including ERP, CRM, and advanced data analytics with AI integration. Let's please give a hand clap to Mr. Weru. Secondly, we have Kelvin Jenga from Kenya Red Cross Society, who's the digital transformation lead there. And he has spent 5 years there at the intersection of humanitarian aid and emerging technology. He coordinates the digital transformation department's efforts to build platforms that make humanitarian services more timely, inclusive, and data-driven. Some of the solutions that he has built there are an AI-powered platform designed to offer mental health and psychological support to communities, and also a cloud-based data warehouse that lays the foundation for truly data-driven humanitarian organizations. Let's please give a hand clap to Kelvin. It does sound weird to be introduced like that. Lastly, we have Rahab Wangare from FSD Africa. She's the IT manager at FSD Africa, where she leads the organization's digital transformation, cybersecurity, and enterprise systems, and it drives the effective integration of technology into the operations and programs. She's a strong advocate for responsible AI adoption, not just focusing on productivity gains, but on governance, ethical usage, and user adoption. FSD Africa is on a bold mission to mobilize 12 billion USD worth of domestic capital from Africans and for Africans by 2030. Rahab oversees major platforms and systems, ensuring technology investments are aligned to FSD Africa's impact targets. Let's please give a hand clap to Rahab. With that introduction comes the hard questions, because your bios give a lot. So we'll just begin by understanding. I think we'll start with you, Weru. As a Pan-African health organizations, how complex are your financial systems and operational workflows, especially given the work that you do across the globe, and how does AI integrate to this?
Thank you. I'll be very quick. I'd see the interest of time. Amref Health Africa is an NGO or a non-government organization that was founded and headquartered in Africa, that is in Nairobi. Our operations run across 35 countries in Africa, but we have physical presence in about 9 countries. One of the quick journey that I'll talk about is how we have gradually done transformation, because about 5 or 6 years ago, we had disparate systems, every country operating on different platforms, and we dared to do one major move to run all the operations across Africa on one database, on one system. And that involves all the operations and all the supporting functions, finance, HR, procurement, grants management, asset management, budgeting. All of those systems run on one single database across Africa. And integrating that with, for example, the human resource, we have different payrolls for each country, but all posting to one database. That's a major financial integration. We have also included in the same system things like an Islamic payroll that is quite different in terms of the taxes and everything. So all these are completely integrated into one system that runs in one database across the whole of Africa, and now we are spanning to Europe in some of the functions like payroll and human resource management. Cutting the story short, I think the major part is the complexity of reporting. The interest was, how can we report from one system across Africa? And that's actually what happens. today is that by 2nd of every month, I could tell what was the total Africa wage bill without even a single report being sent across systems. And then the bottom line I want to put to summarize this is to say that most of the times, and even in our age today, we're talking so much about AI, but I want also to put an emphasis on what data is it layered upon, or you have to layer something on structured data for you to get meaningful output from whatever agent or solutions that you put in place. In a nutshell, the complexity of it is that we run across on one database, and then AI now comes in to make it much easier because you can interrogate data across all the countries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Weru. I think that brings in an important aspect, especially from the work, Kelvin, you've done around disaster preparation and response from the Kenya Red Cross side. How important has access to timely and reliable data been to you, especially when you're trying to draw out new insights to prepare better and also to respond better in cases of disaster?
Thank you very much. So for humanitarian organizations and Kenya Red Cross in particular, especially ones that deal with disaster operations and emergency response, time is money. So the decisions that are made within the first few hours or the first few minutes, depending on the nature of the emergency, they actually determine the outcome of the entire operation and whether the community or the beneficiary gets the response that they need in time, just that support that they may need to save their life. So this has really been hindered for Kenya Red Cross for a long time because of segregated data. So our operations in disaster, our operations in health, they generate mountains of data every year. But this data used to sit on different platforms, like my panelist, has mentioned as well. So we have similar challenges actually. So data sitting in this across all of these segregated systems, if a field operations person wants to respond to a flooding situation in their area, it becomes a very tedious task for them to have access to information like the prepositioned resources in that particular area, human resource volunteer capacity that we have in that area, the community, the historical community context in that particular area. It becomes very, very difficult. So what data and AI has enabled us to do, we have been able to unify all of these systems through a data warehouse, and thanks for Microsoft really for supporting us with that. This data sits on one single, not really one single database, but in a data warehouse. And then on top of it, we have AI, and it's able to, within a few prompts, you are able to actually get the information that you need immediately. So for an organization that responds to dozens of disaster operations every year, it changes the game completely. The narrative switches from reactive response to actually predictive. So right now we are able to already know or anticipate what's likely to happen in what areas and the amount of resources that are needed in those areas.
Okay. Thank you, Kelvin, for that insight around AI integration, especially to the data side of things. I think also where it was mentioned around the operational efficiencies. I think, Rahab, around the financial expert, because within the FSD Africa teams, there are experts, especially in the financial sector, looking at how to develop financial systems and markets across Africa. I think how is AI important, especially when they are creating content or collaborating or identifying new opportunities for investment or financial development? How important is AI in that whole collaboration process as expert workers?
The short answer is it's mission critical. We basically need AI in order to do anything that we do. Maybe just to give a bit of a background, I'll zoom out and just give a bit of history about FSD Africa. FSD Africa is a development organization, and so we are funded by the UK government largely, but we've since increased the number of funders that we are working with, from the MasterCard Foundation to the Gates Foundation to the likes of NORAD and CIF. And so what we do is we go into African countries. Most of our partners are in African countries. We are currently in 31 African countries. And we partner with the governments in there. We partner with other development agencies in there. We partner with financial institutions, whether they're banks or fintechs. And we also partner with, regulatory bodies, whether they're central banks, insurance regulatory bodies, capital markets authorities. And so by virtue of us having so many partnerships, we generate a lot of data. And we need to be able to have that data sit somewhere and for us to be able to make sense of it. I think, Wanjiko, you've already explained that as FSD Africa, we're on a mission to mobilize $12 billion worth of domestic capital in Africa. And in order for us to achieve our mission, we need all those partnerships and we need to be able to collect all that data. So I think that's a long way to say that, yes, indeed, we definitely need to have a way to make sense of all the data we are collecting so that it can be useful and impactful for the work that we are doing.
Okay, thank you, Rahab. I think that must involve a lot of research, a lot of collaboration between the teams in FSD Africa, and thanks for sharing that. So sometimes the adoption of AI, and sometimes it's a journey. It's a journey that involves steps when it comes to building a strategy, getting ready, defining governance, defining security, and at the end of it, managing the AI environment because you're continuously improving it. How was it before integrating AI into your own financial processes, into your operational processes? What journey did you take before, based on the challenges that you've shared, and how does it look like now? You have integrated AI within that, Mr. Weru.
Thank you. I think the journey, I think the integration was quite difficult. And it was also a difficult time to actually be able to consolidate information across countries. We had difficulties in donor reporting, inconsistencies in the reporting time. To be honest, we also had fraud, especially in the field offices. Many challenges that kept coming, and until we had to actually understand where is the main problem. The main thing was that we had disparate systems that could not talk to each other. So the journey started at that point. Fast forward, we then got into the problem to the level where we got into, and now most of the things, especially the people in the donor world, and I believe majority here, will know that donor reporting is a major requirement and a major deliverable. The next thing is that you also need to know the fact that we are so much donor dependent. It may require that level of efficiency, accuracy of reporting, it's a key requirement also. And now moving forward to where all these were put together, then it became a bit more challenging then to get reporting quickly, to get intelligence on how we are faring, and to be able to actually pick out exceptions right from the normal, for the database people, querying and doing all these command language queries in SQL and everything. And now when you layer an AI agent that could actually do the polling and get the reporting going out, picking the exceptions using Copilot. All these things have made life quite easy. Just to make it very brief, I see our time.
Okay.
But then all this definitely requires that you have also to get your data right. I must insist on that. And the other thing is documentation part. Again, Microsoft comes with good solutions, even in Copilot, where you actually could do the document management and the searching of even the text at text level, like a chat GPT of the document management system, gets you out all the information that you may require, even from a historical perspective. So a lot has gone into that investment, depending on now how data has been structured. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. And Rehab, around especially this process of AI adoption before and after, I think you highlighted that responsible and ethical AI usage is critical, and governing and securing and how your users within the organization, internal users are accessing data, they are leveraging from the web and the likes. So governance and security becomes very critical in managing this and also reducing the risk that could happen, given improper usage of AI. So what steps have you gone about to make sure you manage the governance, compliance, security aspect of AI usage within FSD Africa?
So I think for us, we have a really diverse workforce. So we have employees who are Gen Zs, some are millennials and Gen X. And so we have employees who are pretty confident and comfortable with AI and others who are not. So we had to bridge that gap by training. But one of the most important things for me was to put together a policy, an ethical AI policy, which already got approved by the board, just so that we have some guardrails on how you're using AI. And also, so we're able to confine people to AI that we've already done risk assessment on. Because I know people are going to go out there and use ChatGPT, they're going to use Perplexity, they're going to use Claude, and they're going to, leak FSD Africa proprietary data into those AIs. So the beauty of us having to utilize Copilot is because we already are a Microsoft house. Thank you, Microsoft. Because we are already using SharePoint, we're already using Teams, and all these Microsoft services up to Azure, Microsoft Dynamics, like the AMREF team are. So utilizing Copilot was almost obvious to us because it's a natural progression to you utilizing Microsoft services. So the fact that Copilot interacts very seamlessly with all the other services is perfect for us. So you're able to search documents in SharePoint, you're able to make summaries from Excel, you're able to transcribe meetings from Teams. One of the most important benefits that I've seen is because, like I said, we're in 31 African countries and all our workforce is in Africa, but we have other people from other countries outside of Africa. But we had a translation problem where we have some employees in Anglophone and Francophone countries, and there's some issues with translation there. So Copilot has been perfect for us with that. We're able to attend meetings and be able to understand what's been said. So those are some of the benefits I've seen around that. With respect to, so I think I've mentioned the policy, but with respect to cybersecurity, for that I'm dealing with that using an ethical AI literacy program. So I'm not assuming that I'm going to train people in 1 hour session and tell them, go out there and be successful. I'm looking at it as it's something that needs continuous training. Also, AI is morphing really, really fast. I mean, one day you're using this model, the next day it's now old and boring. So keeping our employees up to date and aware of where we are with the AI has been really, really important to me. And obviously, I'm not doing that by myself. From the IT department, we're partnering with our learning and development teams. We also have very, very good executive sponsorship from our ExCo and the board. So the tone at the top for me has been really, really impactful with respect to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for describing just the process around when it comes to governance, the governance aspect around AI adoption. I think what has been interesting also, working with and partnering with Kenya Red Cross Society has been the use cases that they have chosen in leveraging AI. Of course, I know Kenya Red Cross uses a lot of open source solutions across the board, but there are certain use cases that they have come to us as Microsoft and said, this we are prioritizing to leverage your technology for these particular use cases. Maybe, Kelvin, how do you go about prioritizing AI use cases in the process, in the AI adoption journey? What becomes most important when you identify, okay, this use case we need to use AI, this one can fall behind a bit, we'll do it much later. What is the process of what use case should I start with when I'm leveraging AI?
Okay, so I think when AI came about and everyone was running around trying to take it and using it for themselves, trying to bring out that superpower from that data that they have. We tried that, and we learned very quickly that in order for you to get good insights, you need good data, well structured. So we would have honestly liked to use AI for most of the things that we are already doing, but then the reality came very quickly. So number one, we have to think about the impact of whatever we are doing. We have some very sensitive operations that we do as the Red Cross that cannot go anywhere near AI, not at this point. So things like we have this program called referral linkages. It's where people, it's like tracing, but not really tracing, connecting family links. Someone, a refugee from another country, wants to connect with their family in Kenya. So this is really sensitive information that cannot go in there right now. So the prioritization has to be on the impact that we would want to see in the end. The data readiness that we have, is the data ready? And not just whether the data is available, is the data structured correctly? So for the most part, one of actually our most impactful thing that we wanted to use AI is for volunteer deployment. But we realized that we did not have a system that actually allows us to leverage on AI at that point. So we had to sit down. I think figuratively someone had to shout stop, and then we just had to rethink. We have to first scrap off everything that we are doing, then think backwards, start working on a proper system, proper data collection processes, proper standards, and then after that is when we are able to integrate AI. So we've been able to do that for operations like volunteer management. We've been able to do that for...
Sorry to interrupt you. How many volunteers are we talking about here?
In Kenya, right now, we have 314,000 volunteers going, going strong, members and volunteers across the country.
Wow.
So managing, these are people living in the communities. They are skilled differently. Some people are skilled professionally. Some people are skilled, physically, depending on the different things that they are able to do. So mapping out these capacities, knowing who is where when you need them is actually very important. And different segregated systems, it's not very easy for you to actually have this information. So AI has really helped us with that. The other area is mental health and psychosocial support. So initially, we were doing a lot of physical counseling, but then one counselor can can counsel one person for around 45 minutes for that session to be productive. So with the AI that we developed with Microsoft infrastructure, it supported us to be able to provide this service perpetually to any person, being able to meet multiple clients. So this was a use case that was there, it was viable, it did not have a lot of technical debt because all we needed was an AI that is able to understand this, train it well, and be able to do that. For some areas, we are not able to go there yet, but of course, those are the steps that we are trying as much as possible to head there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Kelvin. I know we have just short of 2 minutes left, but maybe a parting shot. I know you have continuously hinted around data, how reliable and how clean is the data that you're collecting. But maybe each of you could just give us a parting shot around this whole process of taking AI from experimentation stage into actually it being operationalized. I was not going to get through that panel without saying that word. But taking it to that level from experimentation to being adopted and contributing significantly to the mission of the organization. Just a parting shot on that.
Thank you. As a wind-up, I think there's a statement that we have referred severally, and also about the data, but I think the hype around AI is also becoming an issue for us as the systems people. But someone puts it very clearly, you better be a bit late, but get it right, and then to do it fast and get it wrong. So you need to trade off between the speed and the outcome. And finally, I must say that we've partnered with Microsoft quite a lot, together also with our vendors, that is the Impacts Business Solutions. And I think critical for us, especially the people in this hall, my main word I would say that this partnership has helped us to develop one global CRM solution that we are using for individual giving. And as you appreciate that globally, overseas development aid is shrinking every day. I think we are diverting cash to military and everything else. And that has moved us to go to unrestricted funding. We have developed this solution together with Impacts and Microsoft team to help us to do one database that helps us to actually do individual giving across Europe and North America with different payment gateways, multi-currency solution that is really has come in handy. And the easiest of it is that being a cloud solution, I think AI is just now becoming like a plug and play. We are able to use human language to do the query data, to query that information. And I think I can talk on and on.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Parting shot, Kelvin?
Mine would have to be the concept of being digitally enabled is not data informed. You can be digitally enabled but not data informed. We have a lot of digital systems generating a lot of data, but if you do not find a way of stitching this data together, having this data in the right way, it will be impossible to actually generate insights from it. I cannot overemphasize the usefulness for being able to know what resources are where, being able, for us, being able to preposition resources. We know that people in a certain area are going to be affected by floods, and they are likely to move in this direction. These are the roads that are likely to be cut off if it floods in this area. So we map out through predictive analysis that the AI is able to support us with. It's possible for us to preposition resources in this area. That is being data informed. Thank you.
Okay. Finally, Rehab?
Thanks, Wanjiku. I think on the back of what Weru and Kelvin have mentioned, the only thing I want to add is that the main benefit of AI is so that you're able to focus as a human being on those things that only a human can do, which is strategy. So you free your time from doing the mundane, document-heavy work to just the strategic focus work. And secondly, especially for FST Africa, because we're a really partnership-driven organization, it's to build those relationships and to sustain the relationships we already have. You're not able to do that if you're focused on just building documents and reviewing proposals, which are nice. I'm not saying that shouldn't happen. I'm just saying that utilize AI for that kind of work and allow yourself to do the kind of things that only a human being like yourself will be able to do. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for partnering with us. And hopefully you can see any of them in case you want to discuss further how they are utilizing AI. Thank you so much.
Right, a round of applause for the panelists. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.